Alright, hello everyone. My name is Disc, and in this video we have a 23 Theater of Pain. We are on Fortified, Spiteful, and Necrotic. I really didn't think this would be a problem this week. I thought it was a fine combo, but we're many days into the cycle now and it's actually proven to be really terrible. I think it's a combination of it demands a little bit different type of awareness, and the other part of the problem is I think a lot of players just put their foot down in weeks like this and just don't play. I don't know. I'll try any affix. I'm not gonna be like that, but I do think there are less people playing this week from what I've gathered. But anyway, off the top, I'm planning my PIs. We have a Warlock in the group who's my pal, so he's going to get dibs on it regardless. Moreover, Warlocks are just really excelling right now in DPS, so it's without a question going to the Warlock. I do think it's fair to kind of plan a backup. You know, maybe Goon will be dead, or our cooldowns will misalign, and the Hunter is my backup. You know, you can toss PI on anyone in the heat of a moment, but there are better targets to give it to. And yeah, we're about to get going here. I wanted to get in a video for this week, but all the keys have been pretty bad. But this one went actually really well, and for reasons I don't know, my scorecard did not populate in this dungeon, so you're just going to have to trust that this is a 23, and we timed it under by a minute. So you're not going to be able to monitor that, you're just going to have to trust, and we can still go over these plays. And just for the record, I spent 3 to 4 days testing out Divine Star. A lot of people are playing it, they say it's the right build. I gave it a shot just to see how I felt about it. I've actually really never played that spell. I've always just favored Purge the Wicked, and I just didn't like it. I had to just admit it to myself that that's not the playstyle I want, and went back to Purge the Wicked. But when reading meters, I think the argument is Divine Star is high DPS. I didn't really notice my DPS go up at all. If anything, it went down some. So yeah, I'm just going to do Purge the Wicked. I've become really proficient in keeping my dots rolling by spreading my dot from, you know, higher targets or targets that are dying. But Purge the Wicked for the win. And we're about to get going here. We are fortified, but I am going to focus Decia with my Schism and my Boon. Roll a couple atonements always before the key starts. I always Mind Soothe 2, Fade Mount, and we're going to focus Deci here, make sure she gets the spectrometer. And I'm expecting incoming AoE. Catch it with a Radiance. Make sure to Q PI on our Warlock. And I do get the dot first. We have to keep a real close eye on that, and there's no reason not to roll wall early. The fight is still really volatile at the moment. So I spend the first 10 seconds of the opener just atoning and spot healing before I go into Boon. And we got Vi for this Boon, so we get a rotation of Nova Blast, Nova Blast. You always want to get as many blasts in as you can. That's where the DPS and healing is. And it's just about time to get Shadow Fiend rolling. Let's see. Yeah, Shadow Fiend and Schism. When there's 3 up like this, Mind Seer's nice, but you also have to make sure you purge the heal off. They cast it pretty frequently, but you gotta get it off. And while all 3 are up, our tank is going to be taking arguably more damage. That's also a great place to drop Pain Sup. And yeah, you can always grip your pal if they get targeted with the PvP mechanic. Grip works, there's no global, doesn't cost mana. A nice defensive penance proc fully into the tank. That felt really good. Yep, just keep your dots rolling on the enemies. And make sure you're watching the dot that goes out on your allies. Using your defensive externals early when 3 are up. You always want to make sure you get full value of boon. You know, if that was an pull, we would have had 2 boons. But needless to say, that went pretty smoothly. Check how PI did on our Warlock. And he's under geared too. Alright, boss 1 done. Fortified trash. We have a 3-pack. Nothing really to worry about here, except they give a dot. So use your bars to monitor where that goes. Usually a Shadow Mend and then Atonement Healing is enough. And we're just trying to get this Arbalest down first. He is the biggest threat of this group. And I'm holding boon because we're about to change into a much more threatening mob, more health. Nice disengage from the hunter. Nice stack drop from the tank. He just really left the room. That is so good. Keep that guy mind soothed. Makes the room a little bit more comfortable for everybody. Okay, so in hindsight, I should have dropped boon there, but I did not know our route. The tank was a pug and not in Discord with us. But at this point, I forget what I do. But I do PI or Warlock. We only have 1 more round of PI before we get to the boss. There's nothing wrong with popping it here. This guy's fortified. And for the same reasoning, I also pop Shadow Fiend here, followed by Schism. This is just a long fight. The way I look at cooldowns are just ways to make fights quicker. Even though this guy isn't a big threat, we have enough time for 1 more round of cooldowns. And I just pump as much as I can. I practice my rotation, just making sure I keep everything rolling, keep my dots active. Man, those procs feel so good. And yeah, it's a sad rip to be sitting on boon here. I expected something different from the room behind us, so I held boon. But at this point, I don't think I'm sure if we're pulling the middle pack or not, so I'm just holding boon because it's a lifesaver. Oh wow. Oh, that's right. Okay, so Goon and I both thought this was a brilliant play. We keep this guy up since he spawns relics, and we use this woe to zip us through to the boss. And these flurries are the only real threat here, and I notice our tank pops rejuve, so I hold my external. And we do need to get boon rolling. 2-target cleave here, getting as much as we can. And I could have timed boon a little bit better so that it covered this flurry as well. But he had bark skin, and I dropped paints up as well. And side note, I just got a new weapon and weapon enchant. I'm really loving it. But notice here, we're keeping woe barely alive until this guy is dead. A lot of times when you have a woe play, you have to be careful in keeping him alive until you want him to pass his buff. You can't just mindlessly cleave him down, because although it's a 60-second window, it is so easy to kill him early and then not get the woe you wanted. So, food for thought. I think we could have just used a potion and gotten by. Like maybe done an relic and just used a potion. It's safe. So only thing you gotta be careful with here are these ricochets. Gotta dodge it. It will unfortunately line up with her stomp attack, and if the ricochet hits you and the stomp hits you, recipe for disaster. And Goon wanted to eat one. I think he learned it though. Fucking rat. I always just pre-feather myself, anticipating the mechanic, so that I don't even have to waste, you know, a cast. I can just go ahead and step right into the fast movement. I could have gripped Goon there. He didn't notice he was blasting right into the shield. Yep, pre-feather, quickly hide. Pre-feather. Went on him. Good, he got it. The shield looked like it was a lot wider than it was. Okay, we have boss 2. A non-tyrannical boss. Shouldn't be a problem. It plays just about the same though. The banners are the only threat. Save your DPS cooldowns for a banner. So promptly QPI. I always try and use a target macro for just to get him down. And I just do regular shields here. Grip the Goon out of harm's way. Banner's finally down. And sadly so is Similarly with the Woe, you have to be really careful about when you kill the relics, so that they do what you want. And in this scenario, they were both sent down for this intermission phase and had the healing buff of So anyway, back to the fight. We are 3-manning it up here. We have to use Schism and Boon on that banner, otherwise it's just going to be a real problem. And for this next round, since we're all 5 up here, I'm going to rapture the group. I get a dot out and then spread my dot back to the boss and go straight into a rapture. I'm just getting a shield on everyone. I try and time it so that I can refresh a shield on the other side of the slam. And I think I was able to get one. Yeah, Goon and I both teleported him there. He was thinking one step ahead, but we both reacted. LOL. Alright, and for this banner we have PI on Goon, so that's great, but I'm also going to Shadow Fiend and Schism, just for as much single target as I can offer. Even if it's slightly overkill, it's fine. And we're all 5 up here, so I prelay a barrier just to kind of help with that slam damage. I'd have to double check it, but I only think 3 of 5 of us got in it. I like it better when all 5 get in. So one thing, I do use the Penitent one. My only comment is I feel I don't cast Radiance enough to make it fully valuable. I think it's just one of those things where you have to kind of change your playstyle and use Radiance more. And I've been trying to do that. But anyway, this round, we didn't have any externals. We didn't have like a barrier. We didn't have a rapture. I pretty much knew everyone else would be okay, but I worried about myself. So I walled, pre-wall. I noticed we were focusing boss part of the way through that and had to switch. In hindsight, I should have just held Boon there. not a great choice. Where are we going next? Okay, so in a time like this, I'm always glancing over my available cooldowns just to know like what's at my disposal. This can be a hard pull, but I think we decide to we are going to double it. I thought we'd singled it, but let's see what happens. I fade. I want no aggro. I try and open with several dots. I'm watching for my PIQ on the Infernal. There's PI. The first defensive I have available is Paints Up on the tank just for the opener, and then I Rapture the group. I always try and favor myself last within Rapture because I do have Charitable Soul as a conduit. It returns any shield cast on someone else partly to me, so I favor myself last. Try and favor the tank first, keeping a nice fat shield on him as much as possible, but you also want to make sure your group is shielded. And that wasn't bad at all for a double. It would have been great if I had Boon, but like you just saw, I wasted it exiting the last boss. So, got through. Paints Up and Rapture for the win, and PI. Okay, so this pull, hard. And thankfully we do a Boon. So I'm just getting nice, fresh 15-second atonements out on everyone. I lead with a barrier just for a little bit of cushion. I do want to get a dot up first. I'm being picky, but I dot, Schism, and Boon. I work in a fresh Radiance, a little bit late into the Boon, Blast, Radiance, Blast. As long as you cast Radiance somewhere in your Boon, the group will be atoned through the Eruption. I like to Radiance late in Boon after the Schism falls off. When you cast Radiance while the Schism is still active, I kind of look at that as a little bit of loss, but sometimes as a defensive play, you have to cast your Radiance early. So I'm just trying to get dots out here as I approach. And this play is a little bit better if you take it into the big named mob next, but that's not the way we did it. So I am pooling resources here. I'm just trying to manually get through it with Shadowmans and my dot. Really have to keep an eye on who gets chained here. And thankfully, as I had to get near this guy, I just faded. Okay, we're pulling. So we have a lot of health missing in the group. I have to atone and get into Boon quick. So PI's out, Schism, Boon. Blast, Radiance, Blast. Pretty good. And now at this point I am pooling resources. The next platform is just kind of like a spell reset moment, but the platform after is probably the hardest pull of the dungeon on Fortified. I forget what happens, let's see. So if you check my avoidable damage list, it only shows 2 people overall, which is a rare occurrence to have everyone basically playing perfect. If you're playing keys and they fail a lot, and you just feel like you're getting frustrated, I can bet you people's avoidable damage is through the roof. So no matter if you're a healer, if you're a tank, if you're a DPS, that is how you have clean keys, avoiding mechanics, keeping your own health alive, and being a boss. Okay, so here comes the pull. I'm reloading my UI. I was trying to get my scorecard to load, but the reload still didn't fix that. So something was going on here. No scorecard. But we asked for a 10-second delay because my boon was not ready. That is why I said the last Portal Guardian would have been a better pull if we had a little bit of trash with it. I would have gotten more return on my boon and it would have been available. But for this we have PI, that's going to be a real saver. open with 3 dots, watching for my PIQ. Definitely want to roll your Dispel early in combat, get one out. And I want to get into Boon quick. I wall because I have another dot. I have to get Boon out. I was targeted with a Shade. I had to blast and punt and blast again. So that Boon was far from optimal, but what I'm getting more used to as I become like more familiar with Boon is sometimes you have to work in other casts to survive a pull. So that's exactly what that was. Watch it again and watch my spells cast, and you'll see how crazy it was. But it's exactly what we needed. And also Fade there for the win. So I had a Shade on me, and my instinct was to fear, but the fear broke and kind of cornered me where I was forced into that other pack on the side. Fade reduces aggro range, so I just faded and I was safe. And for this, I'm just letting the opener kind of happen a little bit, getting all my dots out. But we have quite a bit of time before the boss. We don't really need any healing, but we do need some DPS. So getting that Shadow Fiend out on the biggest threat here, followed by a Schism. Especially if we have about to die, we do not want to be holding a major cooldown like Shadow Fiend. We want to get the effect of that CDR, so get it rolling. And still enough time for another round of PI. I see our Warlock Q, so I'm going to go ahead and give it to him. This big guy just has so much health. And this is another instance where if I knew the exact route, or if maybe the tank was in Discord with us, I would have dropped Boon at the start of this platform. But I just didn't know what we were doing, and yep, give a little punt for the Goon. And a kick was missed. In watching the replay, there were none available, so I'm not sure if one was doubled up or what, but yeah, unfortunately, they got me. It always got to get the Disc Priest, that's all I know. And this definitely is a Boon pull. As an opener, I really just have to spot heal myself. I was targeted with that mechanic. Getting my dots out as part of my opener, definitely roll Dispel really quickly. I'm still atoning the group. I refresh my dot, and this is completely a Boon pull. So I blast Radiance Blast early in my Boon, just to get the coverage, and there goes the Death Knight to a frontal, and you'll notice I was hit with another bolt, which put me in a really vulnerable position because I also got the dot on myself, but thankfully a quick single Dispel followed by a Penance proc. That was all the healing we needed to recover. The biggest thing with this pull is you need to roll your single Dispel every 8 seconds. And in watching this back, I did have a little uptime on it, so I'll work on it for next time. Another really great move over here is Mass Dispel if there are 2 dots out. And get this guy down quick, and spam res. We need every second we can get in these things. I can't see our timer, but Goon's keeping me up to date, and we're noticing even though this is going swimmingly, it's tight. And I think that's just how a Fortified Theater 23 goes. I think it's just kind of a hard dungeon. Alright, you'll see I have a dot hovering on my Death Knight. That means he died and he's missing Fortitude. That's just a weak aura. And we're about to go into our next boss, which is a piece of cake with a Warlock and their magic dispel. So you'll see here, our Warlock, the Goon, missed his dispel. I think he had the wrong pet out, but it's putting the entire group in a really vulnerable position because we're all missing health, no one's atoned, and it's an opener with relics, and we have mechanics. So I just have to very defensively get into Boon as quickly as possible. The tank wasn't even atoned, but I casted a Radiance at the very top of Boon, which is about the most defensive Boon rotation there is. And we really needed that. So right before I wanted to get the Shadow Fiend rolling, anticipating Schism to be up soon. I QPI on our Warlock, and he is now getting our dispels. So this boss will be a piece of cake. He and I are in Discord together, so we're just, I'm calling the dispels and we're both just snapping them off real quick. And this boss doesn't do too much. You just want to practice your rotation and keep Schism rolling, keep all your other spells rolling. Dispels are the biggest threat, but we're about to have our second boon, so I'm spending these last couple of seconds atoning part of the group. I'm sorry, all of the group. Open with Schism and boon. Single target is a Nova Nova Blast pattern. And I was trying to stand a little bit nearer the Goon so that my Nova would hit him. Yeah, he needed that Nova because look, he just stood in that crap. That's crazy. For that round of damage, I did not have a big external, but I had Schism and a proc. And that's really all you need. Quick dispels, perfect. And we're moving on. I always like a little levitate there, just for some extra flair, you know. But going into the next pull, I'm looking at what I have available, which is not boon. That's the main thing, but we do have PI, so that's really all we need to get through a pull. And Goon is going to full send here, so I'm keeping an eye on his Infernal Pop. Getting my dots out. It's always good practice to at least have your PI target atoned. That's just, in a sense, protecting your PI. But right here I'm playing super aggressive. He's missing health even. But for this group, I kind of forgot what I was doing for a second, but you do want to stack inward. The leap is more manageable. You can get more DPS when they're all stacked and not spread. The only real thing you gotta watch out for here are the bleeds. Usually just one Shadow Mend and Atonement Healing is all you need. A Disease Dot goes out as well, but it's not a huge problem. I try and let it stack to 2 and then quickly dispel when that stack hits 2. So I would have liked to go that way, and Fade can usually get me by anything, but I was a little bit scared with that timing. So went around the back, faded, and we're through. And I made a little weak R that has that little countdown. You'll see my screen go like milky for a second and it counts down. That's just how I watch Fade. I like to have a graphic representation that I can just monitor like that. So bleed went on me, couple Shadow Mends. Absolutely I want a wall, and there's no reason we're going to hold Boon on a 5-pack. So Schism and Boon, that was a full 10 seconds of Nova Nova Blast. Our DK is down. I think he stood in ground damage, and he says Werg. If anyone knows what that means, let me know. Spam res. And PI's up. I forget what this next pull is. We take a single. Yeah. This guy has a lot of health. Kind of threatening because he has an aura. I don't know what that was that about killed him, but thankfully he did not die because he had PI on him. He was down in the single digits there. I don't really want to use Boon on a single target, so I'm trying to give all my other spells a chance here. So I Barrier, and I think what I'm planning is on the back side of the Barrier, I'm going to Radiance straight into Rapture. Yes, and you want to Radiance first because that will atone everybody, making your Raptures hit harder because of your Mastery. And then I use Grid 2 to keep an eye on my Absorb value. It's really important to see which Absorbs hit as a regular versus a crit, or which shields are depleted. So yeah, I use Grid 2 for that. It's really the best thing I've been able to find. So I only dot the two big guys here, and I'm letting my opener be just a couple atonements and spot healing before I get into Boon. Blast, Radiance Blast early, just for coverage, and I do a Nova Nova Blast pattern. Pretty big group. And a power play with the Penitent one legendary is you saw our tank back there was waiting for his stacks to fall off, and I was waiting for him with a big proc. So I'm just keeping an eye on the timer of Necrotic, and then I blast him with that Penance as soon as it fades. And right there I got targeted with the Bleed. Wall is becoming my favorite spell. It's a short cooldown, and if you're targeted with the Bleed or something like that, that is when you use Wall. So I have it on a really accessible button. There's no modifiers. It needs to be something you can quickly react to. And a defensive penance on the Goon. I don't do that too often, but it's really nice to be able to adapt and use it defensively when you have to. And here we have Gorechop, which was really spicy for us. We open with Goon really low, so I have to heal him up, QPI, and I'm just doing a real soft opener here. I'm trying to just atone the group, make sure shields are out, using my Shadowman procs. I'm just trying to let the pull kind of settle. And this was a rare occasion where I wanted to time Boon with and there is this really great synergy where your blast cooldown reduction becomes every global, so you can just blast the fuck out of Gorechop, and it's just a really good feeling. I don't do it too often on purpose, but I think it's a fun play. Usually I'll burn Boon as early as possible and not delay like that, but I'll just yeah, doing a soft open. And you always want to use Pain Sup for the tank mechanic. I think that one was actually just a second too late. It was hard to tell. And I'm about to drop Shadow Fiend. We have ads. I just need to get that DPS button rolling. I update my atonements in the group. I cast Shadow Fiend and Schism. Dot my ads. Throw in a Radiance while the Shadow Fiend is still active. And we're just practicing our rotation. And we also just had PI come up. So I'm watching for the Infernal Q. Getting dots out on the ads. And there's PI. So our Hunter got grabbed. It puts a pretty nasty dot on him even in Fortified. So just, I think it was like 3 Shadowmans is what he needed. Getting some dots out. Boss is almost dead, but we have boon available. I don't know why everyone just chunked there, but defensively my oh shit button is always kind of rapture. I don't play it otherwise, but I raptured into a boon since it was available. The group severely needed it. I had Schism as well, and that was a full value boon right to the tail end. And yeah, I'd call that a spicy pull, but we all managed. I think one thing you can do as a priest is just be quick to react. Discipline doesn't have any large instant heal, so your reaction time will really enhance your play. So yeah, I'm just monitoring PI there. We got 2 rounds. Never good to drop a PI. Rolling boon every chance you get, and making sure you get a Shadow Fiend out as well. And yeah, that was a good example of using with boon, getting blast every cooldown. And it was a really good use of a defensive rapture as an oh shit button. So none of us have cooldowns. This is really good to watch if you're a tank or a lust class. I would say like get my Omni CD kit. But if you notice on the left side of my bars, we're all waiting for our cooldown to come available again. What that means is you take trash first. So usually trash would come after boss, but we're just playing to the group right now. Group awareness. Keeping dots out, we're pooling resources. Just doing some really native type DPS, rolling our small cooldowns. I think there was around a Schism I did in there. Feared that guy off me, a defensive penance, and a bear tank that off heals. I can't believe it. I think that was the second time I've seen him heal in here. It's really incredible. But anyway, as part of our opener, we queue PI right on time. We definitely want to get that rolling before And for this first round of AoE, we get a group of ads. So I'm planning my boon there. And I want to give a full 15-second atonement to the full group. Schism and boon. So I want to be in boon when the ads come out. They can actually die really quickly. You need to already be there. So boon is fully on cooldown, and bam, now we get So that's really perfect. And I could have played Shadow Fiend there. I do like doubling up cooldowns, especially when it's mixed with my Ruby and Bloodlust. And yeah, I like doubling up, but I do save just playing a little conservative. This is an IO key for me, and just want to spread my cooldowns out for more coverage. And so one thing to note real quick, if you look at the avoidable damage, Goon and I have had a perfect run so far. Neither of us are on the meters, but let's see how it goes. So just getting some regular atonements out. I have my Solace and my Penance and my Mind Blast. And all that's happening here is I'm anticipating the 50% mark. So I open with the Radiance for the Mastery, atone the full group, and then that AoE that goes out at 50 barely did anything. And yep, our second round of PI is on Goon. Boons available, Fiends available. So for this first round of AoE damage, I believe I go for boon. So I always want to refresh my dot, refresh some atonements, Schism, dodge ground damage first, Schism, and boon. When you're in Bloodlust, you can do a Nova Blast, but I didn't want to take out my AoE damage, being that we were trying to kill ads. Okay. And then, wow. Okay, so I literally tunneled on that one. I don't know what happened, but completely missed that. But it's a miracle it didn't kill me. But it did put me on the avoidable damage meter, so almost had a perfect run until right then. But yeah, that was 3,300 for me. That was a really good key. I'm still currently number 2 in the US. I'm not sure if I'll be able to break number 1. I just don't have a group. But I am having fun doing it, and it's really fun playing with a Warlock. And I'm loving the double legendaries, and I'm loving the relics. I think it's the best play I've had in a while. And until next time, guys, Disc.